All right, let's take a look at this lines, transversal, and angles. The first challenge one, it says the red lines are parallel, so this line is parallel to this line. Okay, they'll never intersect. It says the blue line is a transversal. A transversal is just a line that cuts through two parallel lines. Okay, so it could be any line. It could have been facing this way, or it could be coming from this angle. It doesn't really matter. And it says drag the black point to show an angle that you think is congruent. Congruent means equal to. Okay, so you would want to take a look at it, and anything that's directly across would be congruent. Okay, this point would also be congruent, and this point would also be congruent. Okay. Here are all of your classmates' responses. You're not going to see any right now on my page because this is just ours right now because I'm doing this before you. Okay, it says the red lines are also parallel. Drag the black point to show all the angles that are congruent. Okay, so there's one, and there's one. Okay. So those are all the same measure. Okay, here are the same lines from the previous screen. Okay, so it showed us, so we want to drag them. Now they're all congruent. So across from it, again, same position and same position. Okay, so you can see how this works. If it's across from each other, then they're the same. And you can see if it has two lines, it's the same. If it has one line, it's the same as A. Okay? So this is describe two things you know. So you can talk about how the angles, which angles are congruent to each other. Okay, on the upcoming screens, you'll see a new pair of parallel lines, red lines, and a new transversal. You'll learn the names commonly used for various types of angles and consider whether they are always, sometimes, never congruent. Okay, so vertical angle just means across. So it says drag two black dots to show another pair of vertical angles. Okay, so we can just go across from each other. That would be vertical angles. I could have taken them down here and said those two are vertical angles because they're across, or these two are vertical angles because they're across, and drag the 2 points. Let's see, vertical angles are always congruent. Okay, go ahead and just put if the lines are across from each other, or sorry, if the angles are across from each other, they will be congruent or equal. Okay, the green arc shows a linear pair of angles. Okay, so we have this green arc, linear pair. Okay, so linear means this angle and this angle. They're going to add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so it says drag the 2 points to show another linear pair. Okay, so there's one and there's another. It's in that same position. Okay, or we could have said this side and this side are a linear pair, or we could have said this side and this side are a linear pair. Okay, same side interior. Okay. So it says same side interior. Those are going to add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so you notice that this angle and this angle would be the same as adding this angle plus this angle. That would be the same measure. Okay, so this angle and this angle are going to add up to 180 degrees. So they'll never be congruent. Okay, here we go. The green arc show a pair of alternate interior. Okay, so alternate, so alternating, so they're inside the red lines. That's where the interior part comes, and alternate means they're on opposite sides of the line. Okay, so alternate interior. To alternate means to go every other, so on the other side. Okay, so those ones are always going to be congruent. Okay, these are same side exterior. Those are never going to be congruent. Okay, they're going to add up to 180 degrees. Okay, it says alternate exterior. Okay, look at the size of this angle and look at the size of this angle. If you just take a look at it, you can see they're very small versus this large angle and this large angle. So these ones, alternate exterior, are also always congruent. The way I know they're alternate exterior is because, look, here's my parallel line, here's my parallel line, okay, and the angles are on the exterior. They're on the outside of the parallel lines, and they alternate, so they're on opposite sides of the transversal. Okay. Corresponding angles, here we go. So corresponding angles just means same position. So it says drag 2 points to show another pair. So look, there's one and there's one. Okay, those are corresponding angles. Here we go. 2 or 3 sentences to take the biggest takeaways. Okay, you can write something about transversals, parallel, congruent, that you can find the measure of angles, adding them up to 180. Some angles are, vertical angles are equal, alternate exterior angles are equal, alternate interior angles are equal, same side interior add up to 180, same side exterior add up to 180, something along those lines. Okay, extension, what happens, this is the last question, 15 of 15, what happens if the red lines are not parallel? Okay, so what happens if the red lines are not parallel? Well, then it changes the measures of these versus these. Okay, so these would never be equal to these. Okay, and that will be it. Thanks, guys. If you have any questions, hit me up.